Now pull up a chair and make yourselves comfortable, folks. It's a peaceful evening here in Overton County, the kind where the last rays of sun paint the hills a soft gold, and you can almost feel the day's work settling down. We're truly blessed to share this time with y'all on the deep dive. Tonight, well, we've got something quite out of the ordinary that crossed our path. It's a tale that, as folks who've spent a good deal of time wrestling with ancient texts and pondering spiritual journeys, it has certainly given us pause, sparked our curiosity. It's a narrative so peculiar, it might just have you looking at the world around you with fresh eyes.
That's right. And while the source material for today's deep dive, it comes from a YouTube channel called Everyday Masters. And it certainly presents a narrative quite different from our usual biblical studies. It does touch on these universal themes like memory, purpose, and the human experience of awakening things that resonate, across many wisdom traditions. Our mission today isn't really to endorse its specific claims, not at all, but rather to serve as your guides, to unpack this fascinating story, explore its core ideas, and just genuinely consider the insights it aims to present without adding our own interpretations beyond what the text itself lays out. We're simply here to examine a unique perspective that caught our attention.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because this story is truly something else, y'all. It starts with a simple, almost bewildering question posed by an interviewer to someone they call a volunteer. Ask them, what's the craziest experience you've ever had? Now, you might expect to hear about some wild adventure, maybe, or a close call, or some grand cosmic voyage, right? But the answer, plain as day, was simply Earth.
Earth. Yeah.
Just Earth. Can you imagine that? Of all the vast, wondrous possibilities in this universe, our very home is described as the craziest experience. Makes you wonder what kind of place we're really in.
It absolutely does make you wonder. And the narrative, it clarifies that this volunteer was, in fact, a human on Earth, which makes their perspective all the more immediate and, frankly, astonishing. The core concept, as it's presented in the source, describes Earth not just as a planet, but as this unique, almost unbelievable experiment or experience within the larger universe. It's portrayed as a place of, well, profound significance.
A human like you or me, right here in Livingston, or maybe standing by the river up in Rickman, that's an astonishing detail. So if Earth is this grand experiment, what did the designers, that's what the source calls these overseeing entities, what did they build into its very fabric to make it such a profound experience?
Well, that's where it gets truly fascinating. The narrative highlights a fundamental design feature for anyone entering this Earth experiment, a complete memory wipe upon arrival. The volunteer states you'd have no memory of anything, not even existing before Earth. Now, the source explicitly calls this design brilliant.
Brilliant, forgetting everything.
Yeah, brilliant. It suggests a profound, almost audacious intention behind it. The source says, to dive as deeply as possible into such ignorance, such darkness, and still find your way back to remembering who you were, that took true mastery. It really poses a deep question about self-discovery amidst, well, total forgetfulness.
Well, now that's a powerful thought, isn't it? To forget everything you ever were and still have to find your way back home, your true self. Whew. It sounds like trying to navigate the deepest parts of Big Self Work without a compass, let alone a map. And this Earth, our familiar home, it had some mighty peculiar laws that made this journey so challenging, setting it apart from the volunteer's original realm. We've got gravity, sure, the good old what goes up must come down. But the source really zeroes in on linear time, where day is followed by night, and there's this distinct delay between a thought or intention and its manifestation. That's a stark contrast to their home reality of instant creation. That delay alone. Wow, that sounds like a monumental shift. Here's where it gets really interesting.
It absolutely is. That delay in manifestation is indeed crucial. A profound departure from their home reality where thoughts just happened instantly. This linear time was one of Earth's unique rules, creating a challenging environment, for creation and understanding. But what's equally remarkable, according to the source, are the pre-incarnation choices. Before entering Earth, beings could apparently choose their character, things like your family, whether you wanted to be male or female, what race you wanted to be, and even the location on the planet. It suggests this grand pre-planned journey, a deliberate selection of specific experiences before that memory wipe even began, almost like setting the stage for their own unique play.
So let me get this straight. You choose your role, then forget you chose it, and then the whole point of the game was to remember what you set out to do. Bless their hearts, that's a labyrinthine path. And because of this profound memory wipe, well, it led to some real challenges once they got here, didn't it? The source explained that since nobody on Earth could remember the rules, the true nature of this experiment, They made up their own rules.
Yeah.
And these rules, the narrative claims, were based on fear and giving your power away to others. It paints a picture of folks getting a bit lost without their true bearings, trying to navigate life without the map they started with, creating a world based on misunderstanding. Sound about right?
Precisely. This fundamental loss of memory and self-trust created a deep sense of disconnect. The volunteer recounts trying to send guidance from beyond Earth through synchronicities. You know, those meaningful coincidences that feel like whispers from somewhere else or through intuitive impulses. Yet the Earthbound couldn't hear me, couldn't see the signs. Why? Because they didn't trust themselves. It highlights this profound state of, well, spiritual amnesia, where the internal guidance system was essentially offline.
And seems this wasn't a new problem for these designers. The narrative tells us that an earlier call for help went out when Earth's inhabitants were floundering, and first volunteers arrived to assist. But their fate, it was truly tragic. They killed them. Imagine that. Offering a helping hand and being met with such fear and aggression. The source emphasizes that Earth's inhabitants couldn't understand what the volunteers were telling them, and the idea that they were equal to the volunteers scared them. It's a sobering thought how easily fear can turn against what's meant to enlighten and help. Makes you think about how often simple truths get twisted by fear in our own history, doesn't it?
It's a powerful reflection on that struggle, yeah. The core messages these early volunteers shared, according to the source, were just common sense stuff like, all the answers you seek are inside you, everything I can do, you can do, and more. Simple, profound truths. Yet in the narrative, they were twisted into these fear-based beliefs. For instance, God is inside you supposedly became you are separate from God, and all the answers you seek are inside you was reinterpreted as you can't trust yourself. This, the source says, created an out-of-control situation where fear escalated and the original intention got even more obscured.
And it seems there was an underlying issue, deeper than just fear and misunderstanding, making it all even harder, what the source calls the DNA problem. It states that their DNA was how they connected with their higher self, but it didn't work anymore, can you imagine? A crucial link to their true, magnificent, divine selves was broken, leaving them feeling isolated, unable to access their own inner wisdom. Like a radio that can't pick up the station anymore. This isn't just biology in the narrative. It's a profound metaphor for that spiritual amnesia, a physical and spiritual disconnect.
That's precisely the challenge the narrative presents. This breakdown of the spiritual DNA, let's call it, meant not only a loss of self-trust, but a whole society built on external validation and fear. Because that internal guidance system was down. Paints a stark picture, really, a world adrift. However, the narrative then introduces a new plan for Earth. The designers, the architects, knew Earth was entering a special section of the galaxy filled with a frequency that might be able to reconnect the human's DNA. This was the window, a critical window of opportunity for a massive reset. The catch, as the source explains it, was that only those incarnated on Earth could tune into these frequencies.
Ah, okay. So a new call went out, a massive one this time, for millions in the physical form wired and ready to attune to these frequencies. And these, the source tells us, are the 21st century humans that all stories were about, who volunteered from every corner of the universe to help the humans wake up.
Wow, it's a grand vision, isn't it? A kind of cosmic intervention, a spiritual rescue mission, if you will. Makes you think about all the souls here today, maybe in our own Cookville or Sparta or right here in Livingston, who might feel that inner pull to something greater.
It certainly sounds like it. Their mission, once they got here on Earth, was quite specific and incredibly challenging. We had to wake ourselves up, attune to these frequencies, and spread them to the rest of the planet.
That's
That's a tall order indeed, requiring profound self-awareness, active participation, and a deep trust in an unseen process. An internal journey meant to ignite external change.
And the awakening process itself. It's described in such an insightful way in this narrative. Initially, these new volunteers were totally clueless, right? Taught the same fear-based beliefs that have been handed down for eons on Earth. But then, get this. As soon as the Earth entered this cloud of frequencies, we started to question everything, and one by one we started to wake up. The key, according to the source, was simple, yet profoundly powerful. The more we trusted ourselves, the quicker we reconnected, and the faster we started to remember what was happening. Next on two. It's a testament, really, to the power of inner knowing, of listening to that still, small voice, even when the world is screaming other truths.
That trust in self is portrayed as the catalyst for the whole shift. And as these volunteers awakened and reconnected, the source states that the planetary frequency began to rise quickly. This had a profound cascading effect. The humans' experience of time began speeding up. They started manifesting their beliefs faster and faster, which suggests this rapid acceleration of cause and effect on a global scale where thoughts and intentions, both good and bad, became manifest with unprecedented speed. This idea of a cosmic frequency shift impacting our blueprint. It's a fascinating convergence of ideas, suggesting an external catalyst for internal evolution.
Well, you can imagine what happened next, can't you? With everything speeding up, chaos, according to the source, truly ensued. Those consumed with fear created even more fear. Eventually, Earth just spun out of control. The old low-frequency beliefs could no longer exist, so they began to self-destruct, and the world fell into complete chaos. For some, this was terrifying, like a sudden violent storm rolling over the Cumberland Plateau, just tearing everything down. But for the volunteers, the narrative claims, we all knew it was the end of the old energy and the beginning of the new. It speaks to a deep inner knowing, even amidst all that outer turmoil.
Yeah, exactly. This culmination of rising frequencies and escalating chaos led to a definitive shift. The source states that a tipping point was reached in our awakening and we created a new Earth. And this wasn't just metaphorical, apparently, but a distinct outcome, a kind of bifurcation of realities, as described in the narrative.
And the source clarifies there were two distinct paths that emerged. The old Earth continued on allowing those who could not let go of their fears to play out their lessons, sort of left to its own devices, you could say. But for the awakened volunteers, those who had trusted themselves and reconnected, we created a new Earth that matched our higher frequency, and as easy as that, all the fear-based beliefs simply fell away. Imagine that. A complete shedding of fear, just like changing clothes after a long, long journey. It's a powerful vision of spiritual liberation.
This new Earth is painted as a truly transformed reality, a place of immediate remembrance and profound unity. The source says, in an instant, we remembered who we were. We knew we were all connected and we stopped hurting each other. We started respecting each other, started loving each other. They took back our power to create, and we created a new Earth without fear. It describes a world built on these fundamental truths of unity, empathy, love, where the original intentions were finally realized.
So what does this all mean for us here in Overton County or wherever y'all might be listening? This everyday master's narrative, while certainly unusual, it offers a remarkable lens, doesn't it? A lens through which to consider some profound truths. It speaks to the incredible power of individual choice and trust, specifically trusting oneself to reconnect with that deeper, more magnificent self. It challenges us to look beyond surface appearances and consider the hidden architecture of reality and our place within it.
Indeed. And what's truly fascinating here is how this narrative, despite its non-traditional framework, it sort of echoes sentiments found in many spiritual teachings. The idea that a profound forgetting has occurred, that our true nature is divine and interconnected, and that the journey back to that remembrance is the ultimate purpose. It raises an important question for each of us, I think. What happens when we choose to let go of fear? To truly trust our inner guidance and embrace our deepest connections within ourselves and with each other? Could that very act be our own personal awakening, the foundation for cultivating a new Earth right here, right now in our own lives?
It truly does make you ponder. To go from such ignorance and darkness to remembering who you were, as the source puts it, calling that true mastery. It makes you consider what it means for each of us, right here in Overton County, maybe tending our gardens or walking down the street, to choose trust over fear, to seek that inner knowing, to acknowledge our inherent worth and our interconnectedness. It reminds us that our choices, big or small, our intentions, our daily actions, they truly shape our reality, just like tending a good, fruitful garden. If this Earth experiment is indeed about remembering our true, magnificent selves and our profound interconnectedness, what new Earth are we by our daily thoughts and actions, helping to cultivate right now wherever we are? That's a question worth pondering long after this deep dive is over, I reckon.
Question that resonates deeply with our own understanding of purpose and the divine spark within each of us.
Well, friends, we've taken quite the journey today through this unique tale from everyday masters. Whether you consider it a legend, a metaphor for spiritual growth, or something more, it certainly gives us something to chew on, doesn't it? Like a good Sunday dinner, you keep thinking about it long after the last bite, finding new flavors of thought to savor.
We truly appreciate you lending your ears and your heart to this deep dive. Your curiosity helps us all grow in understanding, and that's a blessing we don't take lightly. Really is.
Now, if this deep dive sparked a thought, or maybe a question, or just made you smile, we'd be truly grateful if you'd take a moment. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below with your thoughts and reflections. Tell us what resonated with you. And subscribe so you don't miss our next exploration. It really helps us reach more good folks just like y'all, spreading light and thought across the airwaves.
And as we close out this time together, we want to offer just a simple prayer from our hearts out to all humanity, and especially to each one of you listening. Whether you're down the road in Livingston, over in Cookeville, across the holler in Monterey, or truly anywhere in this wide, beautiful world God gave us.
Lord, we ask for grace, for understanding, and for the courage to remember the truth of who we are, magnificent beings connected in love.
Guide us through our days. Help us shed fear and inspire us to create a world filled with kindness and respect, just as you intended.
Bless all those listening, wherever they may be, and may peace fill their hearts and homes. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Deep Dive. Until next time, keep that curious spirit alive and keep seeking the truth.